Hi, my name is Frank Walker, and I was born in 1967 with Prune Belly Syndrome, which is a rare muscular condition where in most cases you are born completely without abdominal muscles, or some variation of that. I was born completely without them, and it also led to other issues such as urinary and kidney. And when I was 15 years old, my doctor told me about a possibility of a surgery where they would take muscles from my legs and put them into my stomach to replace the missing muscles. And it had not been done for the purpose of Prune Belly Syndrome, so it was kind of a new thing for that reason, and it was worth the attempt to do it. And this is the man who did it. His name is Dr. Dorritt Ger. And I wanted to give him the opportunity to talk about what he did with that and what other things he's known for. And that's what we're going to do. So this is Dr. Dorritt Ger, and he's going to talk.
Hello, yes, I was fortunate enough to meet Frank when he was a youngster, and his pediatrician had heard that we were doing operations on the abdominal wall in adults, and I had a fairly long experience of this. Mostly it was based on my medical training, where I was very taken with the anatomy of people, and in the early days of the cadavers. And at the age of about 15, I became a demonstrator in anatomy while I was a medical student, because I was so impressed by the way that things were put together. And as time went on, I became a surgeon. That was well tied up with the anatomy and made it much easier to practice. And one day, in fact, I was sitting somewhat morosely looking at the cadavers, muscles that I had dissected and the students had dissected, and then I went off to do a clinic for ulcers of the leg. And while I was doing the clinic, I found, gee, there must be some use for these muscles that I keep dissecting out. Maybe I can close these ulcers. And it turned out to be so, yes, I could close the ulcers. And then as I've found that I could move muscles without causing ill effects, and making them take the place of muscles that were either not there or had been damaged or had been lost. And it was under this setting that Dr. Carrillis approached me one day to say, I see you are doing a lot of transpositions of muscles of people with hernias of the abdominal wall. That's weakness of the abdominal wall. Usually the abdominal wall has either collapsed or been operated on, but there are defects there, and it leads to a lot of effects. The abdominal wall is a very important set of muscles, not thought of much, but it makes it do a lot of good things, like emptying the bowels, having babies, and protective, and so on. And so when I met Frank first, I was well versed in transposing muscles from the thigh and turning them on themselves upwards to the abdominal wall and replacing the muscles. And we did this on a series. Firstly I did them on patients, I must say, and then I went on to do them on something that you may or may not be familiar with. Beagle dogs, beautiful as they are dogs that have a predilection for getting hernias. And I operate on quite a lot of them and fix these hernias, because otherwise they're going to be destroyed. And the results are very good in the dogs. And then I was doing them on humans, and did a lot of work like this. But Frank was the first pediatric case that came along, and due to good graces of Dr. Carrillis, who recognized that maybe there's something that could be done here, because one of the symptoms of in a young person is that, and adults as well, if you can't use the muscles, you have great trouble getting yourself up from the ground and doing all sorts of other things like passing urine, passing babies, etc., etc. So it's a big defect not to have muscles. And so we proceeded with Frank and transposed muscles from the thigh and turned them on themselves and passed them upwards. And we will show you a diagram of that and what it looks like, and suture the muscles into the abdominal wall. And I spent about 50 years in surgical practice, and I did the same operation on many people. Usually they were adults who had either lost their muscles or had operations and so on, and found it to be highly effective. And Frank was an outstanding success. There's no question it helped to have a fireball to operate on who could do all these things, but he would be a great training man for people who have prune belly. And so the disappointment in my eyes has been the inability of other doctors to see the same benefits that would arise from this operation. There are one or two that we have located in the United States who seem to be doing it in this operation in very small numbers of cases. But surely there must be many people in the world who have this condition. If you put all the races together, there must be many cases who are suffering for no good reason, and the doctors are not aware of it or don't want to do it because they don't know about it. And it is with this premise of helping both the doctors and the patients that we are meeting and discussing the situation to try to find ways where we can get this placed before the world in general. Actually, the people that really would be the ones to go to would be the World Health Organization. But somehow we have not managed to make any inroads in that direction. So in summary, we have an operation which is proved, because I've done many operations in adults, not particularly prune belly, but it's the same principle. The muscle is missing, let's replace the muscle. And if we could publicize this and get big organizations to take it over, we will be doing a lot of good for a lot of young people, and then old people who are not benefiting.
See?
I can say more, but I'm stopping for the moment to see any questions that that's something I left out. Or
I'm also trying to think too. I'm trying to remember questions that were asked of you at the convention that we could try to talk about too. We're still going? Okay. I remember that one woman at the convention asked you. She had donated a kidney to her son, and I think she also asked, "Is it possible to donate muscle?" And I think either you or Dr. Dubois said no, if I remember right.
Oh yes.
Do you remember that?
I didn't remember that. I didn't. Don't take this down just yet. If we're not treating the patients who have got prune belly by this method, which will make a big improvement, that's where we should start. When we run out of ammunition, then we can turn around and get somebody to transpose a muscle from one person to another. But right now, we can do it to the same patient. So we don't really need that.
Right.
Am I right in saying that?
It makes sense. Sure.
I think so.
That makes sense. I'm trying to think what else they asked you.
Because the patient hasn't got the muscle, but we can take it from somewhere else, and he won't suffer anything from the loss of that muscle for there.
Right.
Because you've got other muscles that will take over. You have no deficits at all. But it is a valid point.
Yeah.
No one's looked into that.
Yeah. I was 15 when we had the surgery done, And at the time, he thought it was a good age to do this, because they weren't sure about going much younger. Is that something you want to?
That's a very good point.
Okay.
Can I say this?
No, please.
I don't know the ideal age for doing it, because Frank is the only sort of youngster that I've done it on. The rest have been adults who've lost their abdominal wall for various reasons. So I don't know the age. It may well be you can do it on anybody, but it's a bit of an unknown. I would tend to suggest, if you have a patient and the patient is a very symptomatic young person like Frank was, that you know you can do. Frank, you were how old then? You were 13?
I was around 15, I believe.
15.
Yeah.
Oh, well then I do it. I've done it all on adults.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the age doesn't matter. What's the earliest time you can do it? I don't know.
Well,
with dogs, with experimental animals, it grows. The transposed muscle grows the same as the dog's other muscles.
Right.
So that's and we rely on the animal experimentation quite a lot for various other advances in medicine,
right,
rightly or wrongly, and so we know that to be true.
Yeah. I do know that, well, we are aware of another doctor in Dallas, Texas. His name is Jeffrey Fearon, and we've been made aware of him the last year and a half or so, that he's done it on a series of 1-year-old patients, and based on what Dr. Ger did for me. When I spoke with him about a year or so ago, he was aware of the article that Dr. Ger wrote on my surgery, but didn't actually read the article. Someone had made him aware of it, and he pretty much did his own version of that himself. And then we've all been in communication since then, which is pretty funny because 25 years apart, he knew about our surgery across the country from where we are, and here we are coming together now. So it's pretty amazing for that reason. And he has done, I believe it's about a half dozen now, around the age of 1, and some of them are now 7 or 8, and they're well on, they're fine.
Well, that's very significant, you see.
Yeah.
That's the population we don't know.
Right. Right.
But I'm sure we could go into Africa and whatnot and find many kids with it.
Oh, well, yeah.
No, everyone's accepted it. That's what it is.
Yeah, right.
It's a birth defect.
Mm.
So we need the public relations. I don't know how far the Prune Belly Association can get also. You see, it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, for us, for Prune Belly right now, for prunebelly.org, by the way, you can get that. Pretty much people who will search on the internet find the website, and then join the community, and then get information that they need to get from talking to people who have it, and talking to surgeons and that kind of thing. So they pretty much have to, well, I guess they pretty much have to find us first on the net, on the web, and then from there on everything becomes clearer and communication can really take off. Which is something I know that they're working on too, and that hopefully we can expand on, and which is the purpose of talking about it here. And
yes, I don't see a downside to doing it.
Right.
And I, as I say, I've done enough to show that nothing but good happens.
Right.
And we use it for many other things besides Prune Belly.
Right.
For missing parts, things, wounds that won't heal.
Yeah. At past conventions, I've gone to. PruneBelly.org holds conventions every summer, and we've done them for the last 6-7 years now, I believe. And a couple of times we've had urologists speak about it, and 1 or 2 have actually mentioned this article on my surgery by name, not my person's name, but by the name of the surgery and by Dr. Ger's name. And they said, well, we're aware of this kind of surgery being done out there, but we don't normally recommend it because it's not all that common, and we consider it kind of risky, and it hasn't been done enough, so we really don't even recommend it. We don't even offer it.
You see, that's a misstatement for people.
Yeah.
That doesn't help anybody.
Right. So I spoke up at 2 of them actually, and addressed that without telling him, what my involvement with it was. And we kind of went back and forth about it, and he's like, I'm aware of this article, and it seems to be doing very well, and the one person who had it done seems to be doing well, but again, it's so uncommon that we really don't say anything about it. And I finally pulled him aside after the public discussion and brought it up again, and he's I have the article in my briefcase, and I know, I'm very well aware of it, I know what it's like, and he says, the guy on the article looks like he's doing really well. And I said, that's where I have to stop you, doctor. I'm the guy in the article. And he went, what? He kind of like stopped in his tracks. And I said, yeah, see, this is the whole purpose of it. Here you are, now you see me, and now you understand what's going on. This, I don't know if you can zoom in on this, this is me before. This is at 8 months old, where before, no muscle, urinary issues going on as well, with the tube and me and things. And and I couldn't breathe, I couldn't get up, I couldn't sit up. I had pneumonia 4 times before I was 4. And this changed all that. Dr. Ger's surgery, I remember him saying, was a 95% correction. Is that valid?
Say that again?
95% correction?
Yes, that's fine. Take 95%.
So in talking about that, the doctor I spoke with was interested, but he was kind of like, well, I'm not a decision maker, my hands are kind of tied, but maybe down the road something can happen from it, and left it at that. I'm like, oh, but take it a little further, but now with people like Dr. Fearon, that it is being taken further, and we're also recently, it's May 2009. We are recently made aware of a doctor in Buffalo, New York, who's going to do one on one of our members' sons, who I believe is around 2. And that was because our members showed him Dr. Ger's article on me. And he's like, yes, I can do this. So that is what we need more of, to get this kind of work done. And again, not everybody may be capable or able to get it done, but overall, you think overall anybody can do it? Can have it done?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Mm.
And if that was a factor, I would like to think that we would get such people and train them and meet them and tell them what to do. I wouldn't mind even looking over their shoulder and telling them what to do.
Yeah, right.
But it's simplistic. That's the other thing too. Mm. I'm a bit angry about everything because I'm frustrated because I have other things besides the prune belly that also people are not doing, like they're chopping off legs, like I've got over here.
And I got to meet some of the people in person, which is one of the things about the PruneBelly.org website, is that a lot of times people don't even meet anyone else with it unless they meet through this website, whether it's at the convention or they meet privately. And
they're wonderful.
Yeah, to see them in person, see them all together, and to see that someone else understands, that's a key factor in all this. Dr. Ger had a chance to see it a couple of years ago. I've been seeing it for the last 5 or 6 years, and they're incredible people, and they understand the issues we need to put out there. They understand the support that we try to give them and give each other. And Dr. Ger spoke a couple of years ago with another one of our doctors about this surgery and how it pertains to them. And after the talk, a group of people lined up just to talk to him and get some opinions and check out the kids really quick right there at the convention. And it was just overwhelming to see the response to it.
You see, there's also a matter of vested interest. I tried to get it into Long Island Jewish, remember that?
Right.
I tried to get them to make it a centre, and of course then they get them from worldwide, people from all over, the Prune Belly. And they had 2 urologists who were doing something, they were doing the Prune Belly. And they were, they didn't understand. They didn't do the muscle transposition.
Right.
And they had enough clout with the hospital to say, no, we'll keep doing that. It's
Right.
okay, it works, it works, it works.
Yeah.
So that was a blow.
Yeah. But even generally speaking, though, a lot of we still hear from a lot of families who are very new to this now. Their baby was just born with it, and their doctors don't know what to do with it. Not even just the muscle, just in general about prune belly. They don't know what it is, how to treat it, and a lot of them give them bleak, expectations, and they come back. We just had someone in Australia write to me.
It's, it's actually just surfaced again. One of the, my Anatomy Association. This is our journal.
Oh, there we go.
This is our journal.
Can we
and
show it to the camera?
I've got the prune belly in that.
Okay. Oh, in here, yeah.
Yeah. I must find it.
Oh, okay. You want to cut for a second? We'll see if we can find that. Okay. That is a drawing of what we're talking about.
Can you see it the other way around? That's right.
Yep.
There we go.
Great.
Do you want to? Is there anything you want to discuss about that, or do we already do that? There we go.
Okay.
Okay. Color version of the article. Can you see it from there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is an article we had done in Newsday in 2007, where we talked about this procedure. They were very nice enough to let us have a page, and it came out on his birthday a couple years ago. And then, I don't know, can you see on this here too, or do you need to see that? That one that says difference tremor is from Daily News from 2006. Again, the same thing. He talked about the benefits that we do for music and about Dr. Ger's information on it. So the word's getting out there in major New York papers. Hopefully we can continue to.
Swamped in papers. I just want to say to you, I'm a bit of a frustrated man because there are other things that I've been successful in working with, of closing wounds. You see, it's the same principle as this, that the people don't know about it, or if they do know about it, they don't want to do it because they think they're comfortable with what they're doing. Whether they're getting the best help or not is another matter. And for instance, I will close wounds pretty well anywhere in the body by bringing the wound together by another device which I happen to invent, and so on, so on, so on, so on. It's not part of the prune belly, but it's part of my frustration in the fact that the medical world is a very conservative group of people who, if they haven't invented it, they will tend not to use it. I do very well with what I'm doing, thank you very much. And I find it very frustrating that I think I've said this before, so forgive me, that I spent 50 years in surgery and I didn't amputate. Did I say this before?
Not on camera. Go ahead.
And I spent 50 years in surgery treating many diabetic legs and this, that and the other. I never amputated a single leg. I healed a high percentage of them, not all, but perhaps 95% of them are healed, and this is not. People are losing their legs in their lives. The same with pressure sores. If I may bring it into the present tense, you remember Superman, what was his name?
Christopher Reeve?
Yes. I mean, he was paraplegic and he developed a pressure sore. And the pressure sore was a pressure ulcer or decubitus ulcer. And he died. He died because he got infected. There's no pressure ulcer that I can't heal. And I've got a whole barrage here full of pressure. These are all pressure ulcers and cancers and so on. I can heal. It's the same principle that my colleagues are very conservative. There are many factors which go into the fact that people don't get the best treatment they could get for certain conditions, whether it's pride or finances. I'm not prepared to get into that field, but it makes me very angry. I find it as a disgrace that a fine young man like this sitting with us here has to go out and work hard and bang away and make noises to get people to have something that's going to help them. And so some higher person than ourselves should be able to bring this into effect. And I know I'm a bit repetitive on the same subject, but that's the way I feel. And that's the reason for me doing this exhibit at the Cleveland Clinic, but I'm doing it for something else, that people are not diagnosing things or using forms of treatment, some of which I happen to have been successful with, but others it's now well accepted that don't do that as well, and those tables are full of cases like that. So dealing with a disgruntled old man. But one who would like to help other people.
Right.
Called to see pain in the testis, chapter 12. And nobody makes a diagnosis. And there's many, never be, and I look at it and I see there's a little dimple there. It's now called Ger's dimple, by the way. It's the scrotal dimple, and the testis twists in the youngster, torsion of the testis twists. And nobody had described it, and I described it. I then have another thing over there where they've taken out two and then the testes died. They didn't know what it was. So they fiddled around. So you can't cut the blood supply off for long. So the testes die. So now, if somebody comes into somebody's office, they have pain in the testis, they spend about 4 or 5 hours finding out what it is. By that time the testis is dead. And they don't notice that. And I've got a case from a children's hospital with two dimples, one on each side. And it's published in the textbook. When I was looking, when you came, I was looking for it in the textbook. And it's not known. So again, so I'm showing things like this to the Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah, right.
So, yes, I must say I love finding things that nobody knows what it is.
Right.
That's why I don't have enough information on that.
Yeah, I was looking at this.
It's the lack of development of a section of the body wall, which includes the kidney. That's why it's all down here. The kidneys down here.
Right.
And the embryology of it. Actually, when you came, I was looking for a friend of mine. Had a chapter on it in a book he wrote. Didn't add anything to it. Just says, congenital abnormality is is a hell of a big field. They haven't done well in treating it or preventing it as yet.
Right. Mm.
It's a bit like cancer, you know. They haven't got to the bottom of that yet either.
Right.
They haven't made the situation with cancer the same as it was when I was a little medical student. It still keeps coming and coming and coming. So they haven't made progress with doing some of the stem cell researches. One day I hope it'll be magnificent.
Right.
I hope.
Yeah.
But right now, with developmental things, they haven't really come up with anything.
Yeah.
I remember with, when I came to the US up at Einstein, I met a chap from Boston, and he was working on the cancer field, cutting off the blood supply of the cancerous cells, because that will do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him then, about 40 years ago, I said, you can do that, you'll get the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. You know, I thought of that too.
Yeah.
And he's a very well-known chap. And I thought even this work he was doing he'd get a Nobel, but he didn't. He died. He didn't get a Nobel Prize. And it hasn't got any further. You know,
Right.
that if you can cut off the blood supply, that will do it.
Mm.
They haven't managed to do that.
No. So I know that in general talks after conventions, we sometimes have genetic people come in to speak about it, and there is no concrete answer. We've had families who've had more than one in the family, and then others who've never had it again. I mean, myself, I have a brother who's 3 years younger. He didn't get it. We've had families who've had 3 in one family, and one case, if I remember right, there were 3 boys, 3 different times. All 3 didn't make it. Then they had a girl, and she's healthy. So, you know, pinpointing is impossible at this point. But hopefully, with time, maybe that's something we can work on.
It's a tough feeling.
In closing, we hope we gave you some basic information on what I've had done because of Dr. Ger, and what hopefully it can do for other people. Overall, this is a possibility for anybody who is suffering from Prune Belly Syndrome, and we hope that it will be taken advantage of. It is starting to be. We're hoping that it will continue and expand, because, like I said before, for me it was a 95% correction, and I'm 42 years old now. I had it done when I was 15. I have not felt the effects of Prune Belly Syndrome since then, and that's what we're trying to put out there, is that hopefully your child, even especially now with going younger ages, a year old or 2 years old, hopefully he won't have to go through the childhood of growing up with this and dealing with all the issues, social issues and medical issues. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prevent this, and he is my hero because that's what he did for me. So we hope you enjoyed what we had to say, and we hope we can use it. Please visit prunebelly.org for information. And feel free to email me at spoonwalkcd@msn.com with any questions, or go to prunebelly.org and speak to them there. Thank you very much.